What was your why did nobody ever tell me this moment? I was away when a friend of mine committed suicide. The first time I even heard he was dead was when his family gave me a lot of heck for not being at the funeral. I moved from Switzerland to America 7 years ago. Most of my family didn't stay in contact with me, so it's just every few months that I hear from someone. Me. So hey, how's grandpa doing? Family member. He's dead. Me. What? When did he die? Family member. 2 years ago. Me. The frick. Why nobody told me? At least send me an email. How is grandma taking it? Family member. She's dead too. Me. Frick you all. Until recently I thought Sophie's Choice was a romantic comedy where a woman has to pick between two men or something stupid like that. I found out I was really wrong. Discovered a week before our family moved to a different continent that we were moving. I had to quit my job, didn't have a proper chance to say goodbye to my friends and had to leave most of my things behind. My mom was like, we've been planning this for months and no one told me. A coworker was gone for a bit because his wife had a baby. I wasn't working a ton at the time, but I was around. When the guy came back to work, he showed me pictures of his newborn son and I asked him how things were going. His answers were vague until I asked a particular question and he got a weird look on his face. He told me his son was stillborn. Nobody told me, and the baby pictures looked totally normal to me. He handled it really well, but I was horrified. Everybody was just like, we thought you knew. On a happier note, they ended up having perfectly healthy twin baby girls a few years later. That you have the worst month-long period of your life after giving birth. I read books, took childbirth classes and had no idea. Not a nice surprise. I knew that. What I didn't know was that when you took a crap for the first time it was going to be like giving birth a second time. That someone will try to ruin your career on several occasions throughout your life. Blatant lies, taking credit for your work, thrown under the bus. I've seen it all. Ah, man. So true. Even when it's not personal. I made it to 32 before experiencing this last year. I lost an amazing job due to nepotism. Went rafting in Colorado last summer. 2 buddies and I go through a briefing with about 30 other people on safety etc. Instructors tell us all to get on the bus so we can head up the mountain. We get on the bus and people start piling in wearing these blue wetsuits. At this point, I'm thinking I missed something, but it was about 95 degrees and I was comfortable in my t-shirt and shorts. We get to the drop off and it's now about 65 degrees due to elevation, and it starts to rain. Those blue suits are looking like the way to go, but I'll be okay. We get ready to jump in our raft and the instructor says no cotton on the raft, you will be miserable, and tells us to take off our shirts. So here we are, looking like a dumbasses, scrawny shirtless dudes on a cold mountain, in the rain, about to jump in a rapid filled with melted snow, surrounded by people in wetsuits. It was fun, but it was cold and we got ripped on by everybody including little kids, the instructors, and elderly. Why did nobody tell us about the wetsuits? I didn't even know where they kept them and tried to find them when we got back. If somebody would have just said, hey, grab a suit, they're over there. I would have given the instructors crap for not telling you guys to wear wetsuits. If they supply them, that's their job, not yours. Baby onesies are designed so that you can pull the garment down over the child's shoulders and off, so that you don't smear poop all over your child getting the onishi off if they have a diaper blowout. Found that out after my first kid was out of the blowout stage. Yeah, but sometimes I wanna smear poop on his head. He deserves it. Didn't find out until I was 18 that I have Asperger's syndrome. Everyone I know knew, but didn't tell me because they were afraid I would react poorly. If you microwave a hard-boiled egg it will explode. If you don't microwave it too long it won't explode until you have taken the shell off and taken a big bite. I called my mom, a 7-year-old alone at home, crying and bleeding, asking why no one ever told me an egg could turn into a bomb. I discovered that about 11. Hard-boiled egg, still a little runny in the middle, and I was about to make egg mayo sandwiches, so I stuck it in the microwave for a bit. Took it out of the microwave and it just exploded the moment I stuck a fork in it. Facial burns took a while to fade and I couldn't see properly for a few weeks. That gay people existed. K-8 Catholic school managed to shield me from the very concept of being gay. That was a fun conversation with my high school friends. You should absolutely try to live your life as an honest and good person, but if you assume other people are as well, you will be fricked over at every turn. Always present yourself at your best, but expect nothing from anyone or the worst from everyone else. I learned that the hard way. Relationships are hard. You'll love someone more than you knew you could most of the time, but you'll also be more annoyed by that same person at times than you knew you could. That you feel heartburn in your throat and not your heart. I was 20 years old and kept getting these terrible pains in my heart thinking it was normal. Turns out my heart wasn't getting enough oxygen. Acne hurts. Why does no one ever mention this? I always heard, oh no, my acne looks so bad today, so it doesn't matter that it looks strange. It hurts a ton. And it doesn't magically goes away when you get older. I'm 43 and I still get pimples. Today was mandatory overtime at work. I was never ever told this company had mandatory overtime. Should be there right now, but since I have another job, oh well. That you're supposed to wear a nude bra underneath a white shirt. I cringe every time I think of all the times I wore a white bra that everyone could see. Yes, your bra should match your skin tone when you wear a white shirt. I learned this when I was 17. A nice black girl explained it to me because she was wearing a black bra with her white shirt, and well, what do you know? You couldn't see it. Learned at 14 years of age during an argument between my mom and father about financial support that I have a half brother. Asked my brothers if it were true. They had known about it for years. Just a minor thing, but still. Been living in this apartment for almost 2 years. Ever since I moved in, I assumed the ignition for the stove was broken, since it never worked. Bought a lighter first day and used it ever since. 2 days ago, a man from the gas company comes by to check something and wants to see if the gas is still on. So he notices the ignition isn't on. He grabs behind the microwave and flips a switch. Viola, the ignition works now. I'm moving out Friday. Voila. When I needed to write my first check and went to the store to buy a checkbook. Had no idea you had to get unique ones from the bank. When I was a small kid, I went to the bank with mom. While she was at the teller station, I roamed around the lobby and spotted a long row of light switches. Since I was always being told at home to put out lights, I reached up, put the place in darkness, and ran. No one told me that by turning off all those switches that people would think the bank was being robbed and to call the police, but that's what happened. To her credit, mom immediately figured out that I was the culprit and got the manager to call it off, and got a good laugh out of the employees and customers, too. I'm a little surprised that a place like a bank has all their light switches located in a publicly accessible area like that. It sounds like a bad idea all around. That renters want to know you're making somewhere between 3-4 times what they charge before they'll give you a place. This really pisses me off, because I'm a single guy with no pets or children who could easily pay rent if they'd let me. But no, even though I can afford an apartment of my own, I still can't afford an apartment of my own. You're supposed to drink your margarita with salt on the rim from the glass, not use your straw to push the salt into the cup and swirl it around. I just realized this morning, and I've been thinking about it all day. I feel so stupid. Morning mugs. Nice. I took dumps with a toilet seat up until about 2 years ago. I was completely shocked when I learned that I was supposed to crap with the seat down. I thought they were for girls to use. All that time I was sitting in dried pee and cold porcelain. Feels bad, man. Whoa, you're a freaking idiot. Thanks for the laugh. I was away at school and no one told me my cousin was pregnant. I showed up to Thanksgiving and they handed me the baby to hold. I was thinking, who the heck's baby is this? But everyone was acting like I should know, so I pretended to know and had to figure it out for myself. That pose is not an actual model of car. Since seeing Men in Black as a kid, I thought it was made by Ford and limited technology from the whole universe, and we cruise around in a Ford pose. My boyfriend commented on a Honda pose and I told him I thought that was made by Ford. I was 24. My favorite root beer is Barks. Has been since I can remember. I pronounced it bugs because of the font until I was 22. Apparently no one in my family or group of friends loved me enough to correct me. It's literally the best root beer. I'm a bit late, but I thought when the nurse stuck an IV in my arm that the needle stayed there, so I did everything in my power to hold my arm dead straight so I wouldn't get stabbed. She saw me sitting uncomfortably, and when I told her of my concern, she informed me that the needle comes out almost immediately after it goes in, leaving just a rubber tube that does the real IV work. I have told this story to many people and it's almost a perfect split. People in healthcare professions think I'm a total idiot, and people not in healthcare professions are shocked to find out the needle comes out. When I was a kiddo, I thought condoms were balloons, so I found one in the woods and went to show it to my family. I cringe. Placentas follow the baby. Scared the crap out of me. For some reason I thought there was a tear and I thought her liver plopped out her vagina. Was horrified. When I started doing martial arts for the first time, all the boys got a cup as part of the outfit. For obvious reasons. Me, being the overly excited genius I was, naturally thought it was a nose protector, and proceeded to waltz over to my parents, cup over my nose, and ask them about how the heck I'm supposed to attach this thing. Not my brightest moment. If it makes you feel better, when we were kids, me and a friend were sitting in the back of my dad's car with his cricket bag on the floor. He pulled my dad's heavily used cup from his bag and put it over his face, saying he was Darth Vader while making the heavy breathing noises. Growing up, I often missed social cues and no one would pull me aside and point out the problem. Nowadays I get I'm supposed to figure it out myself, but still, a nudge would have been nice. As a sophomore in college, I heard the interrupting cow knock knock joke for the first time. Tried to tell my girlfriend, only to discover she'd known about it since the 4th grade. I started college last year and wanted to switch programs. This meant I also have to tell my student financial aid office, OSAP, because I live in Ontario. This starts off a couple months ago with me trying to contact OSAP. I was told to by my college. They have no email and they only have one phone number that works in province. It is only for non-applicants to get information. That's fine. I have a fax machine and even if that doesn't work I can mail it. A week goes by and I get nothing back. Not even an email. I start thinking, hey, maybe something went wrong. I'll ask my college again. They say I have to talk to my financial aid office in person. 2-hour drive away. Okay, fine, I can do that. It's kind of important to be able to pay for my classes. I get the time to visit and what do they tell me? I can't help you with the situation. Here is the email of someone higher up that might be able to help. So now I have an email of someone who might be able to help. Let's go home and ask them. Finally get home and send them an email outlining my problems and they respond fairly quick. They are good at that when it counts. I'm told I need to start an entirely new application and that I can't just switch my current application. This scares me a bit because there were a few complications with the original application. Lots of paperwork and needed help by administration to get it all right. This all leads up to yesterday when I started a new app. Clicked start new app. Asked me if I'm continuing in the same course or changing. Click changing. Done. Break monitor. I could have been done 2 months ago if someone just said start a new app and it asks. Moral of the story, if you live in Ontario and want to change courses, just start a new app and it will ask you. It is much easier than people might tell you. When my brother and I were toddlers, we were good friends and played with each other pretty much all day every day. We weren't especially difficult children, so I guess there were times when my mom felt alright with leaving us alone for a few minutes while she went off to do something. There must have been, because every now and again, my brother and I would sneak into my parents' bathroom and look through the cabinets. I don't know what our goal was the first time we did this, but every time afterwards, we were after what I know now was my mother's diaphragm. I found it and thought that it was a little hat, so my brother and I would play with it and put it on our heads and what have you until my mom found us and took it away. I think that she always tried to hide it, but each time, I found it again. Now that I am not 3, I understand why my mom was so against us putting that thing on our faces. I mean, God. TLDR. My mom's diaphragm, as it turns out, was not a tiny rubber hat. that hors d'oeuvres just means finger food rather than being an actual type of food. I had a pretty dumb moment figuring that out the other day. That pickles are cucumbers. I thought pickles came from pickle plants and to pickle something was to put it in the juice of a pickle, until I was 25. Not too long ago I had to explain to a friend that raisins and grapes are the same fruit. This person has a master's degree. I've been using my phone outside for 6 years without realizing I could turn up the brightness to actually see the screen. I thought it was normal to not be able to see anything in sunlight. Someone told me last week to just flick up the brightness. It has changed my life. That everyone's first attempts usually suck. For some reason I thought that some people were just naturally talented at painting, drawing, singing, whatever, and just practiced to get a bit better or because they enjoyed it. I wish someone had told me that actually it's the practice that makes you good. School is more about learning good study habits than learning all the bulls they teach you. I'm 27 and still have terrible discipline. I have a really hard time with one 3-credit class in a semester because I get bored and start doing the bare minimum to pass. Learn to study, kids. LOL, yeah. I was that smart kid that found everything a breeze throughout high school. Got to college with the same attitude and flunked some classes. It's okay. I rebounded and learned some study skills that work for me. It would have been much easier to do it earlier, though, and I would have gotten better scholarships to better schools. I wish someone told me about public hair before I started growing it. I also wish someone told me that some people trim or shave down there, because I didn't know until I was 15 and I had a massive amount at that point that I was uncomfortable with. There is a very funny typo in there. I'm a learner driver here in the UK and nobody ever warned me that tests are in such high demand that when booking it you'll be lucky if you can get one within the next 3 months. I failed my first attempt in June, which I booked in March, and the earliest date I could get for my second attempt was in October. The very fact that nobody warned me does lead me to believe this isn't normal, however. No, that's normal. My instructor told me, and when I failed she told me to check for cancellation, so find an earlier test. Keep checking on the website, something will pop up. I always thought I can't sing. Turns out if you have a deep voice, you have to sing everything 1 or 2 octaves deeper. Why didn't my music teacher ever tell me this? It's his job. Apparently my aunt had cancer. I only got told when she died. I was like 13-14 at the time and I didn't see her that often, so I wouldn't notice her getting weaker and smaller from chemo. If she even took that. She didn't lose any hair. But still, I loved her. All of my family knew but not me for some reason, so yeah, suddenly my mother walks in and tells me she died of cancer, which was really weird since I didn't even know she had cancer. No one told me that my eyesight would crap out at 40. Younger people, please understand that we hate having to wear reading glasses, and that we have no control over it. Have pity. Now you know how it feels for people who've had to wear glasses since childhood. Muahaha. If you are new to the channel, you can subscribe. I publish new videos every day. Until then, check another video. Bye for now.